right now what we want to do is maybe to boil it down to really specialized things. I actually think that Cursor is a good example of it. You know, Cursor, I think people
Please explain what Cursor is.
Cursor is a branch of Visual Studio that does sort of co-pilot stuff where the AI helps you code, but in just a much better way. It's more integrated and stuff. But the cool
Only
thing
on Mac,
here,
by the way, so not for Linux, so I'm not using it. But okay, continue.
damn. I mean, the thing that's cool about Cursor is it looks like it's all seamless and there's AI in the background, but in fact there's like 5 little or even more AIs, one for the embedding, one for the thinking and stuff like that. And that's probably the way it should be.
Right.
It shouldn't be one big ass AI that's super expensive.
No.
Why would you want that? Our brains have little dedicated functions.
They do.
And so I imagine that the AI of the future is also going to have little components that are smaller and dumber and more specialized, but helping each other out. So yeah, this Monte Carlo tree search is, or whatever it is probably what I also think Strawberry is. And I think that the real future is in building something, I don't know if they call it neuromorphic nowadays, but something more in that direction.
That's another interesting. What do you think, Jesper? What do you think Strawberry and QStar is really all about?
Yeah, it's I already said it. The Monte Carlo tree search or some other form of exploration and test time.
Combined, that is then used to train as well, or is it just the test time or inference time compute?
It could be both. I mean, I'm thinking they probably update the training all along. It's interesting to see that they're now I'm talking about OpenAI. They're outputting a new model every time somebody beat them on the benchmarks. So it seems like they have some way of iteratively releasing more or less the same model. And I'm guessing that they do some kind of fine tuning all the time, where they employ something like could be star, it could be verify step by step, which is similar.
I would like to refine my answer,
Okay.
which is that we are sitting here imagining Skynet.
Yeah.
Yes.
But OpenAI is just a business, and there's a class of problems which is monetizable, that people value, for which this approach could be fully sufficient for doing very smart things. For example, generating verifiably runnable bug-free code. And stuff like that. And so maybe this Strawberry or QStar is just very good at certain classes of problems that people would find very valuable. And so we're sitting here thinking like, oh, this is the next generation AGI. Maybe it's not even about that. It's just about a product that OpenAI can monetize, which makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's something that you can use if you think that your question will be benefited by it. I don't think that if you ask what color is your best color, that I don't think you want to ask that.
I think it's for a very specific class of questions.
Yes, I've actually seen some purported leaks today on X where they're saying this is evidently part of the documentation that somebody has seen from OpenAI. Not sure if it's true, but they have actual use cases where they point out that this is where you would want to use this model called something with release date today. It says something like GPT-01 preview and then today's date. And then there's part of a documentation where they're outlining something like a scenario where you want to create an agent, a customer care agent, where they take some kind of knowledge base and out of that they create some kind of categorization or something, I don't know, that would take in your knowledge base and make it into something that's usable by data. So they have something like a use case where you would want to use it. So I think that they're trying to teach us this is something else.
I think it's interesting, Sam Altman has himself said that they want to have a more of a continuous kind of very iterative releasing of new models going forward, and they seem to be releasing like once every month or something. I just saw myself, I got an email from OpenAI saying they're going in 2nd of October release a new GPT-4o model with that release date. And then you can see all the, the news articles saying in 2 weeks they're going to release Strawberry. And I've heard that for a number of weeks now, but who knows when it's going to happen. I think actually they are experimenting already with more reasoning in GPT-4o. It's just that it's happening for a limited set of perhaps users or a limited set of type of questions where they are trying to see that now it actually has to reason a bit more. for very anecdotal kind of reasoning, I can see if I ask a simple question, you get an answer much faster than if you ask a much tougher question where it has to take some action and go and fetch something on the web or whatnot.
I feel like there's two kinds of capabilities that they are stealthily introducing.
Yeah.
The first one, I don't get those news updates via mail, so I just discover these things. For example, I asked it to generate a PowerPoint for me, and I think a while ago it would have given me the Visual Basic script that I need to paste out myself into PowerPoint, but now it just generated the PowerPoint using Python and gave me the file.
Right.
I was like, wow, you just gave me the file right here in the chat. The second thing I think, and this would probably be if they have big like enterprise ambitions, is to handle RAG for you.
Right.
So and maybe Strawberry's tied somehow to that. Like, given your knowledge, give me an authoritative answer on this question or something like that, and let it sort of think longer on that.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. I remember still, if you just go and think about, what are the future incoming months going to be in LLMs? I remember listening to Demis Hassabis, from DeepMind and now Google, Brain and all of Google AI. He said, very clearly that and I think this is a very nice way to put it. We know the LLMs of today are really good at knowledge, but poor at the reasoning. They can do some shallow form reasoning through the layers and the tokens that they have, but it's not advanced reasoning. If you take the AlphaGos and AlphaZeros that could beat any kind of human in chess or Go or StarCraft or whatnot, they are really good at reasoning and can do this kind of multi-step reasoning in a way that's much more advanced than any kind of human ever could. But they're really poor in knowledge. So we have some models that are really good in reasoning, others that are really good in knowledge. And what would the obvious next step be? Well, it would be to combine the two. And this is literally what Demis Hassabis said, that this is the focus for Google right now, to combine the power of AlphaZero with the power of Gemini, the LLMs. And it seems obviously, correct to me, right?
Yeah, it's everybody's sleeping on Google's new models. They're also going to come with something. So
they are. But they're lagging a bit behind, right?
They're a bit behind, but I'm guessing they're. I think that they're catching up. It's like the top of the line models. They're more or less the same by now. It's like Google, Meta, OpenAI, Anthropic. They're more or less the same now.
Yes.
And I think the one that releases the first will be the one that gets.
Poor Mistral, are they not in that list? And the other little GPU poor companies?
No, they're close to it, but they're not there.
You know what? I'm going to add a question about, is the gap between the big tech giants and the small one like Mistral going to increase or decrease? You can think about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and also I guess that ties into just out of, as an aside, is sort of Europe in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, that's another interesting one. Okay, but if we believe that some kind of multi-step reasoning is going to be added to LLMs, I think we can all agree that some form of that is going to happen, and it's already happening. How would you, if we just go back to that, what is the proper way to think what reasoning really is? Because some people are claiming even, that the LLMs are not doing reasoning at all. Perhaps we could go even more philosophical, saying, what is really reasoning? Robert, do you have any thoughts about that? Sorry for the very philosophical question.
No,
but
I love this question.
You spoke about Wittgenstein and whatnot, so you should...
I think that what we're not doing here is discovering what reasoning really is. We're simply making sure that the three of us are using the same word to describe a phenomena that we're sort of identifying. So, you and I look at an animal and we say, look at that thing it's doing, that behavior. Are we looking at the same? This is the behavior. We're all in agreement on this specific behavior. What do we want to call it? Do we call it reasoning? And you're like, no. Let's call it something else, because reasoning is, I want to use that word for the thing we do. Okay, whatever. I just feel like that's a game of semantics. So we're not actually gaining any insight by trying to figure out what reasoning is. And so it doesn't really bother me whether or not LLMs are reasoning or anything like that. I don't think that that's a helpful question.
But what is the root of it? What is it that we want from the better model?
So this is like the foundation of machine learning in general. You have something that is so complex that you don't really understand, and you want a system that self-teaches itself that stuff. Whether it's how to win the game, what the rules of physics are, or whatever the case may be.
But that's the method of getting to something.
Yes, that is like the machine learning approach. And the question here is, can we get LLMs to learn the universe, not LLMs, but like, can we get these advanced models to learn the universe automatically? Because we haven't been able to figure it out.